Law Simplified with Justice is anchored by Justice Maduforo. Tice Madox Solicitors is results-oriented, but with a distinctive approach tailored to our clients' needs in our specialist fields: immigration law, criminal law, employment law, commercial law, family law, and contracts law. We are well equipped in our litigation and advocacy for the benefit of our clients, corporates, and individuals. Why not visit us at 5 Oakfield House, Oakfield Road, Ilford, London, IG1 1EF. We are just 15 minutes from Liverpool Street Station. Tice Madox Solicitors. Try us. We are professional.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Law Simplified with Justice. I am Justice Maduforo. I am a solicitor of the Senior Court of England and Wales. I'm also a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. I am police station and magistrate court duty solicitor of England and Wales. Ladies and gentlemen, Law Simplified with Justice is a vehicle directing you to Tice Madox Solicitors. What I discuss on this program is merely and purely to kickstart your consciousness, driving you and directing you to the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, this program signposts you to Tice Madox Solicitors, where you can have and receive that better representation, advice, advocacy, and litigation in areas of immigration, criminal law, employment law, contract law, family law, and other litigations. All litigations from the county court in all tribunals, all county courts, to the High Court, to the Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, and upwards to the European Court of Justice. Ladies and gentlemen, this program directs you to that firm. That firm, the details are on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go straight forward because I'm excited to bring the topic I'm discussing today. Because the discussion and the topic I'm discussing today is one of those fundamental principles and fundamental, rarely fundamental principles, that comes from the stable of the court when the court makes some decisions differently. This is why I'm bringing this topic today, and it's immigration. Not only in immigration, this topic may cut across other areas that you are dealing with, family, employment, criminal, contracts, whatever it is. Ladies and gentlemen, but before I dive into that, I must disclaim this, that what I discuss in this program, they are not legal advice. They are not legal advice. They are my opinion, and therefore you must not. And also those I bring on this platform, whatever they say, they are not legal advice, but their opinion. Therefore, you must not act on them, but you must seek independent legal advice by taking the telephone number on the screen or our contact details that we have and come to the office to see me one-on-one, and then I'll be able to take into account your circumstances and advise you appropriately and accordingly. Moving away from there, I'm going to be discussing immigration today. And guess the topic. The topic today is immigration, partner route, the correct approach. Immigration, partner route, correct approach. What do I mean by parent route? The parent route is simply those of you who have made an application to regularize your stay in this country as a result of your child who is a British citizen, or your child who has lived in this country for up to 7 years or above, and you now want to make an application to regularize your stay through that child. That's what it's called parent route. But if you haven't got no child, this topic is not for you. But obviously, whatever that applies to you is also for you to take this telephone number on the screen and come to the office to seek proper legal advice as it applies to you. Remember that I always say this and I emphasize this, that what I say here is for you. If it doesn't apply to you or apply to you whatsoever, you can pass a telephone number, direct someone, signpost someone to Tice Madox Solicitors to come and take this proper legal advice based on what you've heard. That means that what I'm dishing out on this program are not the real deal, but they are all the topics whereby you need to see whether you engage in it and then take action. Therefore, information you get that are half-baked are not information at all. Equivalently saying that half-baked information are no information whatsoever. Therefore, what you hear me speak here, they are mainly half-baked information, and therefore do not rely on them. That is why you must not come to get the real deal, the meat of the deal, by coming down to discuss your case, and I'll advise you accordingly. Let me take this opportunity by telling you that you have the right stand to make a decision that affects you. You can positively affect you or negatively affect you. And to positively affect you, when it comes to regularizing your stay in the United Kingdom, is by taking this correct approach and correct step, which is to come to Tice Madox Solicitors to assist you change your life. Change your life. Ladies and gentlemen, the law is changing, therefore the government is also changing. The policies of government are also changing. They are critically and speedily and swiftly implementing their policies to make sure they reduce immigration or migration, whether those from outside the EU or those within the EU. But you're already here. Now this topic is for you, and you have a child, and your child is 7 years, or your child is a British citizen, either through the father or through the mother, and you're a single mother or you're a single father. Ladies and gentlemen, this topic relates to you. Now, the parent route specifically I'm dealing with is for those of you who have made application jointly as the father and the mother in the family unit as a result of your child who is 7 years and above or settled British citizen. If you are in that category, run to Tice Madox Solicitors. If you have made that application and you're waiting a decision, you better run to me so that with this information I have can be added up to that pending application. Pending application. If you have already made it through your previous solicitors, you may want to come and seek better information to top up what has already been done for you. If you haven't done any application in the past, then you may have to take this opportunity and come in and benefit from this new law. And if you have made application in the past, which has been refused, which your appeal was dismissed in the first tribunal or upper tribunal, no permission granted, ladies and gentlemen, you now have opportunity to kickstart it afresh with this piece of information that I have today. The upper tribunal is a court of record, which means the decision of the upper tribunal binds on the Home Office, subject to appeal to the Court of Appeal or to any other court subsequently or higher courts to ensure that the decision of the upper tribunal is set aside. But in absence of setting aside that decision, within time, that decision becomes binding and the Home Office will have to abide by it. As it stands now, the decision I have today relating to parent route and the correct approach that has been laid down by the upper tribunal stands and binds the Home Office. Previously, your application has been refused. Previously, you've made application because of your child and that has been refused. Some of you have appealed to the extent the Court of Appeal, the same Court of Appeal, have decided that you have no case to stand on with you and your children, that it is in the interest of this child for all 3 of you, 4 of you, whatever, how many of you have applied through this child to return back to your country. Now, the same upper tribunal has also laid down a correct approach, which means discarding the previous address, discarding the previous decisions, discarding the previous approach which they've taken. Now, the correct approach means that the approach they have been applying in the past was wrong. And therefore, this is not the correct approach. That is why I love the beauty of the law and I love the beauty of the law, which means that it is not all-knowing, which means it could at any time change and vacate from the previous decision. Let me also chip in this. This is exactly what happened by the Supreme Court recently. As a matter of fact, some few months ago, a month ago, the Supreme Court of this country have decided to depart from the threshold which they have placed on what is called joint enterprise. When a criminal offense is committed, and with 2 people or 3 people together committing that offense, the Supreme Court has in the past given a different interpretation and the roadmap and the threshold of which the prosecutor, the CPS, Crown Prosecution Service or prosecutor, will have to prove in order to align and convict a joint enterprise to commit murder, to commit manslaughter, to commit massive fraud, to commit whatever sort of offense it is. Whatever it is, that joint enterprise, the Supreme Court have now set aside their previous decision and have now given the correct approach. This is Supreme Court vacating from the decision they made related to joint enterprise in criminal allegations and criminal offenses. Now, the upper tribunal, another court of record with a specialist approach to immigration matters, have decided now to vacate from their previous decisions or previous approaches it has utilized and it has followed in relation to applications of parent route applications. Now have provided a correct approach. The details and the flesh of these decisions are now reeled out on TV. The reason being that your cases are not the same. As your faces differs, your names differs, date of birth differs, country of origin differs, nationalities differs, your circumstances differ, your health status differs, whatever, everything about you is completely different. As your fingerprint and finger thumbs differ from the next person, so thus cases in legal matters differs. But the similarities there are only drawn from the issues and aspect of the law, but has no relevance whatsoever if your circumstances does not align to that circumstance laid out by the court. Which is why you must come to Tice Madox Solicitors, where I can take line by line, step by step, your circumstances, your provisions, your whatever it is that affects you, your entire being. I will sum them up to see whether your circumstance comes to align with the decision of the upper tribunal. That's why I said I love this law, because it will make itself, but in certain sectors it will also, vacate from that decision it took. That's why I love the beauty of this law. It is all not all knowing. It is not omniscient. It could change, but it takes consistent approach by practitioners like us, like me, consistently reminding the court that this is not the right approach, until the court takes a different look at it, sit back again and decide to reassess their decision and come up with the right approach to dealing with parent root application. And I've always been conversing on that the decision and the route which the Home Office has been taking so far in determining parent root application was flawed. I have always been saying that. My representation and my submissions and always consistently disagree with case laws, that the approach they are taking is not correct. But because the immigration law is so vast that one court gives decision judgment in a different circumstances, it applied to the next person, and the Home Office roll with it square and clean on the basis that it is in their favor. But guess what? This upper tribunal, in this case I'm discussing to you today, made a departure that favors you. Therefore, you have been favored. Why don't you take advantage of the fact that the upper tribunal has now departed from its previous decision and have already laid down a roadmap that suits you now? Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to kickstart this topic, because this is a topic, it's a recent decision. Because it's a recent decision, it now flows to be that if you have made an application that lines up to parent root application as a result of your child, your word, your guardian in the past which has been refused, run down to Tice Madox Solicitors and let us afresh put it again. If you have been represented by someone else in the past and your application has failed, the first tribunal refused the appeal, and the permission to the upper tribunal refused, even if the upper tribunal grants you permission, and it got to the real hearing, the upper tribunal also dismissed your application based on your family life with your child, who is 7 years plus, who is a British citizen, as a matter of parent, two people together, not single parent, but two families together. So if you are on that stage, and you are at that stage, and you have experienced that decision contrary adversely to your previous application, run down to Tice Madox Solicitors so that we can repackage your application again based on this new rule. I will not give you the name of the case law, because as a matter of fact, it's important that you don't misinterpret what that guidance says, which means that your case will also consistently, even that decision did not say it on black and white. No. The difficulty most people have is that when they hear something, they run with it without understanding the sector, without understanding how it has been put aside and set aside to follow. It had to follow in such a way that it had to be gauged by your individual circumstances, ladies and gentlemen. I will take a quick short break. When I return, I will expand on this parent root correct approach by the upper tribunal.
Tice Madox Solicitors is results-oriented, but with a distinctive approach tailored to our clients' needs in our specialist fields: immigration law, criminal law, employment law, commercial law, family law, and contracts law. Tice Madox Solicitors. Try us.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Law Simplified with Justice. Before I took a short break, I told you that the change that the upper tribunal has now made and advocated from the previous decision is in your own interest. It is in your own interest, because the law evolves over time. The law is dynamic. The law is never stagnant. The law will have to change based on the more it presents itself before the court The court will apply that dynamism of the law based on the circumstances of an individual that presents himself before the court, based on the individual that brings his circumstances that may be peculiar before the court. The court will interpret that person's circumstances in line with immigration rules, in answer the rules to interpret the law better and probably vacate from the previous decision, which is why I told you I enjoy this law. I am passionate about it because no matter how long it takes, that is why I'm very patient with the law. If you come to me, to Tice Madox Solicitors, to bring justice to you and to succeed in your application, you must exercise patience. Patience is the watchword of the court. You cannot be faster than the decision of the court. And therefore, we crave the indulgence to continue to exercise patience. It may appear slow, but the court process is always slow, but it surely comes. But it surely comes in your favor, one way or the other, especially those of you from outside the EU country that want to stay and live in this country. A choice you make will favor you. It depends on your choice. If you've made a decision to remain in this country and better yourself in this country and apply the best you can in this country, the thing I would tell you is that you take the step that you need to take to ensure that you stay in this country. But, however, you must take the necessary steps that's required. You must do what is needed. What is it that is needed? It makes sure you continue to engage continuously with the authorities. When you engage, you succeed the more, ladies and gentlemen. It is not a time for you to back out. When you back out from your opportunity to move on. The reason why I'm saying this very passionately is as a result of the upper tribunal decision that have now vacated away from their previous decision. Because they have vacated from their previous decision, it now rotates round to be that if you are in that line, have made that application in the past, you can now benefit from this change in the decision of the upper tribunal. I'm passionate about that. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because the upper tribunal as a court of record, specialist court of record as regards and in relation to immigration matters, have decided to pen down and sit down properly and look at the old arguments put before it all these years and put in a correct approach to follow when your Home Office is considering what is called parenthood application that's made before them. As a matter of fact, this decision can also overlap to private life applications. Because when I read the pages of this decision is enormous. As a matter of fact, how many pages here? The court produced almost enormous pages of how many pages? Let me show that. More than 28 pages the court decided on. Of how many paragraphs, line by line, dealing and detailing with the laws, immigration rules, and also those that are sort of the rules. The court has made it clear on the approach to take. And that's why I deem it fit to continue to emancipate the public, the community that listen to the voice of the sound of my voice. And also those of you outside whose words, families, children, relatives are here and probably they're not able to have the first class opportunity to listen and to hear me speak and listen to this program. And you've heard me say that. And I have been pushing and encouraging you now to take this telephone to the person who needs it so that they can change their course of their life in this country. There's no point to moan about the fact that you have no status in this country. And there's no point to moan that your case now has been refused to the upper tribunal in relation to this matter I'm discussing. Now you can come afresh. You can come afresh to Tice Madox Solicitors and we'll repackage it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been discussing parenthood, the correct approach. Parenthood, correct approach. This approach was not just made by the upper tribunal judge, it was made by the Honorable Mr. Justice McCloskey, is the president of the upper tribunal, in conjunction with also another senior upper tribunal judge, which means that this decision is not made by a single judge. This decision is made not only by the president, but sitting together to hear the facts and bring out this correct approach with also a senior immigration judge. And the circumstances of which they arrived at this decision is mind-blowing. When I went through that and I understood clearly, this is a 2016 decision as a matter of fact, just this year, 2016, and recently, after all, we are just in March, recent decision in less than 2 weeks now. Ladies and gentlemen, this decision was made to change and present the correct approach the Home Office will have to follow. Whether they follow that is a result of your argument put before them. If you don't put your correct approach and correct submission before them in your application, you're also bound to refuse a no answer, which is why it's important to also educate you, inform you that you do not need to sleep over your slumber, or you do not need to sleep over the fact that your application in the past has been refused. You don't need to mourn that you've paid the fee before. Keep doing it as long as you want to stay in this country. But if you don't want to stay in this country, do not spend nothing, but just return to your country. There are consequences, if you continue to stay in this country without regularizing your stay. And I keep saying this, and some of you may have a good case, but the precarious nature of your immigration history would cancel whatever good application that you have. What is precarious history? I've discussed it on my program. Go to YouTube, you watch it. I've said that before. The Home Office is not applying your precarious nature, the precarious nature of your immigration history. If your immigration history is precarious and so checkered in such a way that even if you have a good case, it will be cancelled by the fact that you have been staying in this country disregarding the rules and the laws of this land. It is better you put in an application that will not succeed than stay in this country and you have not put in an application to change your status. And as a result of that, over the years, you now gain yourself a better opportunity to make an application. But guess what? You will be struck down based on the fact that your immigration history has been precarious, because there's no history to show that you have been making an application to regularize your stay. Unfortunately, you have to spend the money to get what you want. You have to do so. No businessman goes out there with no money. He keeps trying and he succeeds. The Bill Gates that you hear today did not succeed by just manipulating something. It over years of trial and failing, and he keeps doing it. And today you celebrate him. And you must celebrate other people as well. Richard Branson of Virgin as well. He tells you the story how he started his business. The same applies to you who is making an application to regularize your stay. If you fail, keep doing it. I say that to you. Take my word to the bank. Keep doing it. Because the fact that we kept on pressing the court, that is why this court has come with the correct approach when it comes to making application and deciding the threshold, and also the approach to take when application comes before the Home Office, when it relates and pertains to application through parenthood as a result of a child who has settled in the UK, 7 years British citizenship. And this is the approach. That means that if we have not kept on pressing the tribunal would not have corrected the wrong approach which the Home Office have been applying all these years. This is the correct approach. And I subscribe to that because I have made submissions in previous applications I've made, submitting on this same line. Which is why I'm excited that finally that the upper tribunal has come to see reason why they should depart and restructure the correct approach. This correct approach is the right approach to take. And some of you who have been refused application you've made in the past through parenthood, through your child or your word, and as a result of that, you have run all the way to the upper tribunal and is refused. And some of you made fresh application in the past too, which was refused. But guess what? That's why I said keep spending it. Come back to Tice Madox Solicitors. Come to Tice Madox Solicitors. The new case approach now have put in perspective the approach the caseworker need to take when making decisions relating to parent application. Obviously, parent applications are made through the normal process. And this parent application is as a result of a child who has settled in this country, which is paragraph 276 ADE of the immigration rules. Because of that rule provides explicitly, then the Home Office have continued to apply a wrong approach. Upper Tribunal has endorsed that wrong approach in the past. But now the Upper Tribunal vacated. That's the beauty of the law. That's the beauty of engaging in dialogue. That's the beauty of consistently not losing faith, not losing hope. There is hope in the law. Whatever you spend in the past, as long as you come to the right person who is guiding you stage by stage process, then you should be sure you should not consider what you spend to be a waste. But it is the foundation you've built over the years that I will now be able to catapult you to the best place. Ladies and gentlemen, when I prepare your application, when I prepare your appeal, even if somebody else deals with it, they will do no more nothing anymore. Because you know why? When I prepare applications, I have that eagle eye. I am futuristic. I determine, I look at and interpret the law myself. Yes, I interpret the law myself, and I make those technical arguments that will enable this court to say, that sounds right. That's really good, sensible argument to make. That is what I do when I prepare your application. When Tice Madox Solicitors act for you, not only in immigration, in criminal matters. You know, we are a legal aid firm. We will represent you at the police station free of charge. And you get the best representation at the police station, free of charge, all the way to the magistrate court, to the crown court. Even if you've been convicted in a crown court and you want to appeal your sentence, come to us. You want to appeal and challenge the conviction, come to Tice Madox Solicitors. You want to review your case, which you have actually contested in the past and probably failed. You now want to review it, come to Tice Madox Solicitors. This will all be run free of charge for you. This firm is legally aided, empowered, and authorized by the Ministry of Justice to represent you, independent from the Ministry of Justice. Oh my God, I've moved away from what I'm talking because I am flowing. Immigration I'm discussing, and my topic today is immigration, parenthood, correct approach. The upper tribunal has made the correct approach. Therefore, take a chance. Come back to Tice Madox Solicitors. Talk to us on the telephone. Address on the screen. We're in London. It doesn't matter where you are. You can make it down to us. Contact us and book an appointment to see me. You have to pay consultation fee to see me. Because I'm passing over to you legal advice, not a chat. I'm passing over to you legal advice, not literature, not English literature, but purely legal advice based on legal and legal principles. Therefore, you must pay for that service, ladies and gentlemen, and you get the best. That's fundamental. Our client care is on point. We will treat you in the right way it should be. But we are also firm. We are very thorough. I am very professional when I represent you. I face an attendance, which I am called to respect, which is the regulation under this law I practice. And therefore, you must abide with our professional advice and professional procedures. Ladies and gentlemen, time come me further. But check us further. Add us on Facebook. Add us on Facebook. Address on the screen. Add us on YouTube. Subscribe to our TV channel, Law Simplified TV. Till next time I come your way, I remain your usual regular host, Justice Maduforo. I'm a solicitor, and your time has come.
Tice Madox Solicitors is results-oriented, but with a distinctive approach tailored to our clients' needs in our specialist fields: immigration law, criminal law, employment law, commercial law, family law, and contracts law. We are well equipped in our litigation and advocacy for the benefit of our clients, corporates, and individuals. Why not visit us at 5 Oakfield House, Oakfield Road, Ilford, London, IG1 1EF. We are just 15 minutes from Liverpool Street Station. Tice Madox Solicitors. Try us. We are professional.